Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this subject's long overdue to having a conversation on this because there are storm clouds on the horizon. Around the world, there is still a voracious appetite for the use of fossil fuels, and they're predicted in the next few years that the globe will increase its consumption of fossil fuels by up to 16%. So the idea of how we're going to deal with that issue is complex. America could very well lead the way, and we have in decarbonizing and lowering our emissions. CO2 emissions are down to 16, 18%, 21% by some standards, but yet China and India have markedly continued to increase. So what is it, the number of, China is up 290% this decade, and India 235%. So the thing that I'm perplexed about is that we can go about America continuing to lead and make our reductions. We're, again, up to 20%. We've already begun complying with the Kyoto and the Paris Accord by making reductions, but the rest of the world isn't. And so as a result, we're going to be the ones that suffer with this. We're still going to have across the globe, you're going to have climate change. We're going to still see the oceans rise, temperatures are going to increase, Miami's going to be underwater, and all that we've done everything. We've complied totally with it. So the thing that bothers me the most about this is that we're asking people, other nations of the world, to implement reductions in their emissions, but we're not giving them the tools to do it. There's no technology that's economically feasible out there right now. So the fact that Mr. Thurston, we've been working together, quite frankly, so with all disclosure here, to try to figure out what is a solution to empower these other countries to implement something that's cost effective. And because if we don't, and they continue to burn fossil fuels, we're still going to have a water problem. We're still going to have droughts. We're still going to have severe weather all around the globe. Maybe not in America, but around the world is going to suffer this. So I think if the primary cause is how we capture carbon, I think we need to have the innovation, and we have to move it up first. Do the innovation first. Show that the technology, and then we can export it to the rest of the world, and make it so that it's affordable for them to do it, because they're still going to use carbon. I think we have the responsibility to lead the way in doing this. But let's make sure that we don't put the reverse in. We don't put a hammer approach. Let's use the innovation first and then go to implement the policies then to follow back with that. So if they don't have the, Mr. Thurston, if we don't have the technology yet, what are you suggesting? What could we do to do it? I know last year we passed 45Q. To be able, that was a major step to show how we might be able to do that, to develop that in carbon capture. What are some of the thoughts that you would have? How we might do the innovation first? Unfortunately, we lost one of our members here that I know is an interest in innovation. But give me a little bit more in your spin.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your leadership on this question. I guess I would start my answer to that question by where you ended with 45Q as an example of both what I think can be done, that is constructively, but also what more needs to be done. So full disclosure, I was up here advocating for 45Q passage for almost more years than I can remember. I think it was 7 or 8. I think 45Q was a very important step forward. At the same time, we're actually seeing very few projects are being built so far because of 45Q, although I still have high hopes that more will come. The reason for that is that 45Q is one lever within a very complex energy system. And so what I keep saying to you and to others is that if we want big outcomes from the energy system, you need big inputs. And that's why I think it's important for the members of this committee to come together around some consensus about what policy proposals would be. As you know, another theme of mine is that the innovation needs of different technology families are distinct. So my answer to you is what we need to do for fossil decarbonization is different from what we need to do to advance nuclear, and that is different from what we need to do for solar. And I would encourage you and the other members of this committee to look at the specific needs of those technologies, have policy responses that are tailored to them, but which are comprehensive and ambitious rather than just these one-off small ball type approaches. That's how we'll get to big outcomes in the energy system.